Okay, huge problem. Well, huge is an understatement. It's always something. But I realized that the pin here for the brake, I knew I had to go over with make something that's going to make it go over. But I realized because I have it so tight here, it's not really, feasible. But I just had to see where the hell it was going to be. It's going to be, up around here, but then it's got to completely clear. So whatever I put on this side of the thing is pretty much got to be gone. Now, that being said, this thing here, I just said, let me take out the booster because it'll be perfectly set up then. I'll know exactly what's going on instead of trying to do it on the car. As you can see, it's offset and the mechanism is pushing it. I didn't even tighten the bolts. So I'm going to have to unscrew the end there and figure out something, exactly what I'm going to do. It's probably going to be something like shaped like a C that comes out and comes on the other side. I'll find out soon enough. All right, so if I put the original thing back in here, okay, it just barely touches that, and it looks like it's part of that gusset. It just a slight grinding would definitely help that. This would leave me with this kind of offset here, though. As you can see, this thing here, it has room to spare, but something would have to go, over. That being said, I'm really wondering now. Granted, you get a nice even push when you have something like this on both sides, but honestly, I've had other ones that just had a big guy on one side over here, and there was nothing on the other side, just a pin. So if I take this out, and obviously this thing has also got to be serviceable. So this is the other issue I have. Just see if I eliminate the bracket completely and just put the pin in, because the pin is the thing that fits. You would hate to have a bolt up there. Not that the pin is that much easier. See, if I bottom out the pin all the way, first of all, it hits that. So I'd have to grind out a little bit, because even though it's going to be up here, yeah, the thing for the switch is going to end up hitting it first, and it's going to be right around here. And you could see that that's actually plenty far away. I don't say I want to weld it on there, but I would hate for it to keep moving around, But ultimately, I'd like to make something where you can take the pin out and yeah, some kind of C bracket or an L bracket that comes up here and goes right here. And as long as it's strong enough, it really shouldn't have any issue. It might be better to use a nut and a bolt. Maybe I'm better off welding a nut to that, just tack welding it, just because it's going to be so hard to service. So that is, one thing. Because it's got to also articulate. And I'm just trying to think about that, because it's at the same angle. Obviously the pedal is on the same fulcrum, but you can't like extend this. This is meant to be this guy here on there, So just for shits and giggles, if I just did the outside, maybe I can do it like this and cut off one end. I don't know how strong it's going to be. Like a bolt holding a nut in there, but I'd have to weld it to that. I'd have to put a bracket, bolt it in, put a tack weld it, and then it'll fall on there. That way this will still articulate, and do. But if I grind a little bit of the case, I can get it over the whole thing. That's what it's kind of what I'm aiming at here. It's definitely a little bit of a challenge. But I'm sure that they make other ones that I can probably just get it looks almost like a banjo bolt kind of thing, and I could still weld it. I could still do a few things. May want to take it to the guy and TIG weld it though, because it's a little bit concerning if I don't have something really, really holding it, you know. And that way this arm is, this rod is still adjustable then. I'm almost wondering if, it shouldn't matter, you know. But, you know, obviously the less long it is, the better. But it's got to articulate at the pivot point there. But this has got to be like that. And then, you know, it's as if it moved over, you know. So, more things to think about, for sure. Never a dull moment. But the good news is I was able to just take out the, I never tightened these down, so that I may not even have an accurate, it's close. I could just, I took out the power boost, only the master was holding it, pushed it out of the way, and now I can mock it up on a bench instead of trying to mess with this under the car, under the dashboard. Wish me luck for the next phase. Alright, bit of good news. I'm like, wait a minute, am I an idiot here? So this guy screws all the way on, and now I just put it up to there, just for preference. This is where the actual pedal was, but I couldn't find this before, if you remember. This guy. So that's how far it was in all the way. And then there's a little nipple on there, and then this guy was here. This was welded like this, and there was a pretty big rubber thing on here, which fucking busted on me. But that rubber thing between that, it builds it up. This is the actual position of it, because I have the pin going, you know, straight across. I mean, it's not perfect, but this makes this whole thing a lot easier. Now I'm going to take this guy off. I'm going to try actually leave it on, and then I will, maybe I can do it now. Yeah, so this is like, it's not needing to go, it shouldn't go any further than that. Now it's just about touching this, so I don't know if it actually applied it. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, now I can do something totally, you know, easy. Just a little L bracket the same height as that. There's no reason for it to be this anything but the same height. It doesn't need to be any more forward. So I was thinking about, you know, hacking this guy off over here. Let me put the light on. So I was thinking about hacking this guy off, but then in the end, it seemed like it goes so much further up, but it really doesn't. Now, I mean, I can, you know, give it a higher pedal, but, you know, that's, why put it more than what it was, you know? Because I am going to custom make this thing here, so I can actually give it more brake pedal, but sometimes it's uncomfortable when you're trying to brake, gas, brake. It's already going to be an inch that way. If I make it higher, it may not be the best bet. And like I said, you know, this can always be, you know, maybe extended or cut off and then moved over, but it would have to be TIG welded. As far as this is concerned, I don't need something so super heavy duty, I think. So I think this is going to work out really good. The only thing is about adjusting this. Oh, I'm going to be doing it here, so it's not going to be that much of an issue. I might need a different pin, or the pin is probably going to go the other way, because I think it's too hard to try to get that thing off. It's going to be hard enough as it is, but it's definitely doable. But yeah, I could probably use a number of different things for this now. That's definitely good news. I just didn't, because I had this brake pedal going all the way up high here. That's another, you know, inch higher or so at least. And between the switch going all the way in, and I just lined up this guy. You know, that's pretty much where it is, because that's screwed in all the way. If I just make a simple L with a welded nut on it, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Not at all. And it's really only tacked, you know, tacked on either side. If I weld it all the way around, it ain't coming off. But I would have to make a straight, not this bend here, because it's going to bind, you know. And then if I have to use a nut and bolt, I have to use a nut and bolt. But maybe I can, whatever I make here, I can, what do you call it? Weld the bolt, so then I just unscrew it from here, and it'll be a stop nut, and hopefully I can get it where the, you know, I bottom out the threads, and it doesn't bind, and, you know, everything's cool. Looking good. This is definitely, this is crazy how I was able to accomplish this, but it doesn't really seem bad. You know, the this thing worried me, but I originally was just going to put a bushing on there, and I figured it would be spaced over, but it's definitely pushing it over a little bit, but this is completely doable now. Just an simple L bracket is all you need, and but it's going to be probably. So this is what I just made. Ends up being at 7/8 of an inch apart, but it's super thick. It's like 5/16. I got it from an old alternator bracket that I didn't need, and just in case, I welded a 3/16, or I don't know if that's not a quarter. I think it's a little bigger than an eighth, or maybe it's an eighth. But if you weld it on both sides like this, that ain't gonna buckle. I can tell you that much. I gotta buy something, but let me show you what I'm planning. Basically, we got the original thing, original little Huya, and you know, so you can still access it pretty decent. Let's see if I can use the phone balancing. And then we got this guy actually. Maybe I'll point it upwards. I'm gonna put a bolt through there, and obviously I gotta move the threads a bunch because this thing is so thick. But this is just for demonstration purposes now. You know, and I don't want this to wrench. You know, I don't want it to turn. So I might weld this bracket to itself. You know, just trying to tighten that guy up. Just to give you an idea, if I'm there and it's totally not in the way, and I'll have to make my bracket. As you can see now with the switch in, it's a lot closer. I just have to make something go sideways, but when I hit the brakes, let me put my stomach block. That ain't going nowhere. And I'll have to put a bolt in here. I was thinking about if I bolt it, do I leave it? Do I leave the bolt in? I might just weld it to it, even though I didn't want to ruin the original integrity. It's kind of cool to be able to put everything back the way you found it. But in this case, I'll probably bolt it in, but then weld the nut here to this. So the bolt can be still removed. Not that I would need to. Or might as well just, you know, weld everything. But, you know, just in case there's a way to, see that. Yeah, that would be the way to do it. There's really no adjustment over there. The adjustments are only going to be on this side, and it's still accessible to an extent. So, you know, if you have to do the power booster, you may have to remove the column. Sometimes you can't get away with that when you start messing with original designs. But I think that's as good as it's going to get, and it's, you know, it's not going to be in the way. And hopefully that doesn't touch. I'll mock it up and I'll figure it out. But worst case scenario, I trim it. Probably shouldn't have put that extra weld on that just because I didn't really finish mocking it, but I just felt it was way out of the way. So still access the nut behind it. I'm probably going to get a regular full-size nut. That's like a special nut that has a bigger hole with a smaller head. Or I'll switch it. I'll put the big one on the back so there's more surface area to contact, and then I'll put that other nut in the front. And I'll probably put a lock washer because it wasn't necessary when it was going directly on, but I think I should have it on there. Alright, so far so good. Okay, torch on. So this thing here, this is the original thing. I don't have the pin in, but see, I gotta like kind of force it past just a little bit. It's just a little bit of tension on it. But once it goes there, not hitting it anymore. So there's nothing hitting it. Of course, like I said, I don't have the bolt here, but if it, you know, it's not hitting it now. Yeah, you can see the pin there, and that's it. Ain't going nowhere. And it's you know, super strong, and it's still, you know, like if you could see now, if you're looking from the bottom, I can access that nut and I can access this nut, and it's actually going to be down further, so it's going to be a little bit easier to you know, to adjust. Actually, it won't be so bad.